Hello, everyone. My name is Ariel Marcus Hollenbeck, and I am the Artistic Director of IlluminArt Productions. Before we begin our presentation today of rewriting the story Perceptions of Love, we at IlluminArt would like to acknowledge the land that we are currently creating theater on. We would like to acknowledge, honor, and pay respect to the traditional landowners and custodians of the land on which we gather. While this area is now known as Staten Island, we do not want to forget that the land was originally called Aquahanga Manukung and inhabited by the Munsee people. Now, IlluminArt provides an open, brave space platform for crucial and civil exchange of ideas. Some of the artistic scenes in this production will include topics that some may find troubling. We aim to forewarn our viewers about this potential content and ask that all of our valued audience members to help create a safe atmosphere of mutual respect and sensitivity. I also would love to thank all those who have shared their stories with myself and the rest of the IlluminArt staff. You helped create this piece with us, and I hope that our words do you justice and help others who are in need. You are not alone. After the performance, there will be a brief talk back with you, the audience, and the writers, actors of IlluminArt production. Now, please enjoy the premiere of Rewriting the Story, Perceptions of Love.
I'm so happy to finally see you and hang out.
Yeah, I'm happy too.
It's been way too long. I feel like you kind of fell off there.
Oh, no, yeah, I was just swamped with like work and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, no worries, it happens. I just missed you.
Oh, I missed you too. And now shush. You don't want to miss the movie.
Sorry.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yes, please. I mean, if you want.
This jacket that I'm wearing, it holds my power and it protects me.
Wow, really? That's so cool.
Thank you.
Mother knows best.
You thought you understood what love was. The kind of love two people feel for each other when they're told love lasts forever. She holds you in her arms and you feel safe, but inside she feels betrayed by her own thoughts. You can still hear her cries, though she kept them hidden underneath her blankets. You can still feel his breath, though the words that he uttered are, thoughtless. If there was hitting, you didn't see it. If there was laughter, you don't remember it. But you want to remember them lovingly because your parents are your parents. There's a distance that follows you that she tries to protest. But I guess she knows better, because Mother knows best.
When she tells you you're beautiful, you believe her. Pretty is all you want to be because she's pretty. The right makeup, the right hair, the right clothes, in just the right size. You're told from a young age that it's not about the way you look as she stares into a mirror picking every last imperfection. You keep yourself hidden like Rapunzel in your tower, longing to see the world the way others see it, trapped in your own prison, afraid that you will never be pretty enough. There's a world full of possibilities for you out there, I guess. At least that's what she tells you because Mother knows best.
He always seemed so nice. He flattered you and bought you nice things. So when he told you you were beautiful, you believed him. He played on your anxiety, knowing you were all his for a price. Would it be better to be hit or to sit in the silence as every unspoken word cut through you like a jagged piece of glass? Twisting and turning round and round on a carousel of never-ending fear, the kind of fear that takes your breath away every time you hear fat, stupid, worthless. The kind of fear that makes you punish yourself for not knowing enough about who you are. She says not to leave him, so you're put to the test, but you stay because you love him. Of course, Mother knows best.
The fear is not constant. It comes in waves, ebbing and flowing with every unkind word, every unknowing glance, every pause, until you're broken down piece by tiny piece. He keeps your trust all to himself. All those thoughts come flooding back. Not pretty enough, not strong enough, not smart enough. Feeling like you will never be enough is like living in a new and different prison. So you become someone else. Someone who you don't even recognize. How did I get here? What made me so vulnerable? What made me this way? He takes what he wants without your consent. But you stay because he loves you. Sure, Mother knows best.
I thought I was strong. I thought I should have seen it sooner. I thought I knew what love was. The kind of love that lasts forever. Leaving is not easy. Maybe it's the hardest thing I ever did, but to find my own way, find my own strength, find my own voice, that was liberating. That was power. Building myself back up into the person I wanted to be, knowing I am someone deserving of love. It was never my fault. We keep secrets as if telling the truth makes us weak. We try not to speak too loudly in fear that others will hear us. I choose to speak loudly enough so that those who need to hear me can. I love who I am. I'm through with the rest. I speak my own truth. Mother doesn't know best.
That's so frustrating.
Almost as frustrating as people who talk during movies.
I'm sorry, why can't they see the signs,
Signs?
Yeah, that this person isn't good for them. They won't them see their friends, that's a red flag. They call them crazy for feeling a certain way, that's another red flag.
Good question. Why do you think?
I don't know. Maybe that's what they think love looks like.
Well, people grow up in all kinds of different cultures, and they have all kinds of different structures about what relationships are supposed to look like. So,
But I just don't understand in any culture why it would be okay for one person to hold all the power. It should be equal, right?
I agree with you. It's just, we don't know what this character is going through. It's important to have empathy for them. Maybe it's all they've ever known. It's hard to learn a new way of thinking.
I guess.
Kind of like it's hard to learn how to be quiet during movies.
I'm sorry.
I'd like to report a crime.
Okay. Walk me through it.
My ex-boyfriend broke into my house last night and assaulted me.
So what happened?
I think this girl that I was dating raped me.
What were you wearing?
A sweater and sweatpants.
Jeans and a t-shirt.
Were they easy to get off?
So this guy, he was your ex-boyfriend.
Yes.
How long ago did you guys break up?
Why does that matter?
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get a full picture.
A month ago, he didn't take it well.
So were you dating this girl?
Yeah, I was. Why?
So are you sure she just wasn't making a move?
Well, I said no.
But did you mean it?
Yes. How could you not mean no?
Did you have a rape kit done yet?
Not yet. I was told to report it first.
Yeah, that's fair. After this, I'm gonna have my partner give you a ride to the hospital and have a screening, and then they'll send us the results.
But he didn't, you know.
Well, that makes it harder to pin down, but it's not impossible. Let's get a kit done first, and then we'll talk more. I promise.
Well, did you enjoy it?
No.
Were you able to perform?
Yes.
Did you stop her?
No, I just froze.
I see. So you're sure she raped you?
I've never felt so vulnerable.
I've never felt so dirty.
They didn't even ask for the full story.
She took advantage of me, and yet I'm somehow to blame?
I just need someone to listen. You're not alone. You were brave to report it.
Yeah, my friend forced me to. She's the only one that knows. I'm supposed to be a big and strong man, but I'm really just afraid that no one else will believe me.
That can happen. It's always about what you wear and what you did to instigate it. Never about how you feel.
Yeah, it feels like just an interrogation.
Never a conversation. But it's not always like that. It's hard to see that they're just doing their job. They're thorough, and they want all the answers, and they want to have your back. But that lack of empathy is probably why like 35% of women only report sexual violence.
For us, it's lower. 15%. Maybe it's because it happens less, or the shame we feel afterwards because of the stigma, but we don't want to come forward.
You shouldn't feel shame for something that someone else did to you. You're a survivor. You may walk around with that baggage forever, but at least you know you survived, and you're here to tell your story, just like the rest of us. Maybe by continuing to tell it, it'll get better.
I think it will.
Where is their friend that could speak up?
Look who's talking now.
I don't think we can only look at the person in the relationship. I think a friend could say something.
It wouldn't be their place.
Why not?
It's their friend's relationship, not theirs.
But if someone you say you care about is acting like this, then wouldn't you say something?
I don't even know what I would be looking for.
Well, it could be obvious signs like bruises, physical things. It could be more subtle. Like, take how in the movie, that character, they started really personable and kind and talkative, and like, now look at how they're acting.
I guess really closed off and agitated.
Exactly. It could be a sign, and it wouldn't hurt for their friend to ask.
But what if they're wrong and they make a fool of themselves and their friend gets really mad?
What if they're wrong? What if their friend gets really mad? At least it shows that they care. Let's keep going.
All right. This is okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Here goes nothing.
Hey, you know what? Everything's going to be okay. I'm right here with you. Plus, Dr. Garcia wouldn't suggest this in group if she didn't think we wouldn't feel safe.
No, yeah, I know. I just hope that this doesn't, remind me of. I just hope this is good.
Same. Well, it seems cool. I'm liking the vibe.
Hello, fellow Earthlings! Welcome to our monthly social night. For those of you who are new here, we invite you into our safe space where you can make some new connections. No pressure on trying to find the love of your life here or anything like that, but you never know, you just might. But we want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable and just gets to know the community. And to create a fun energy, we are going to time your interactions. And after each round, you have to find someone new to talk to. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, go.
Excuse me? Just like a little bit squeeze in, thank you. Okay. God.
Hello there.
Hi.
How are you doing this fine evening?
Good.
Good. Good. I am good as well. So what brings you here?
What? Oh, okay. I think time's almost up. I'm gonna try to squeeze past you again if I can. Sorry.
Okay, nice meeting you, I guess.
Wow, you are quite the masterpiece. I'm in awe.
Thank you.
No, thank you for being a sight for sore eyes. Seriously, you are just way too good looking.
Oh, well, that's nice.
You want to get out of here? This place just seems kind of lame, and we could grab a bite, go back to my place.
Oh, I'm not really.
Ding! Find someone new to talk to.
Okay. That was a lot.
I should be a dentist. That was like pulling teeth. They were a total bore, and it was kind of insulting.
They wanted me to go back to their place after 30 seconds of talking? No.
No. You know what? We're just going to call that a practice round.
Please.
Yeah.
All right, lovelies, time to switch it up and see if those stars align, okay? 3, 2, 1, mingle!
Now come on. Don't you think that's a bit too revealing?
Excuse me?
I mean, I would never let my partner go out in something like that.
That's a really messed up thing to say. That is their body. They get to choose how they dress.
Well, I guess then I just wouldn't let them out of my sight. You don't know what someone would say or would do.
Yeah, well, you're a real ray of sunshine. You know what? Have a good night.
Whatever.
No, I'm telling you.
That's great. I've never heard that one before.
Well, now you can pull it out at all the events. That's guaranteed.
I'll try my best. Wow. You know, the way this night was going, I thought that I was going to have an awful time.
Really? How come?
Well, I had gone through... You know, it's the first time I've done this in a while, and I wasn't really sure if I was ready for it or not. So.
No, yeah, I totally get that. You know, I was going through some really tough stuff in my past, and getting back out there, it wasn't very easy. The whole, meeting new people thing isn't really easy. But I know that talking about it with somebody, it made it all feel a lot better. And if you ever really need a friend, I would love to make it a lot easier on you. Can I give you my number?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll text you so that you know that it's me.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, no, got it. Give me a second, I gotta reply to this. Sorry, wrong number.
Funny.
All right, time is up.
Well, I had a really great time with you tonight. I hope to hear from you soon, okay? Get home safe.
Thank you. You too. It was very nice to meet you. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. Give yourself a round of applause for trying something new. Awesome. Get home safe, and we hope to see a lot of you at many of our future events. Have a good night.
How's it going? I saw you smiling.
I got a number.
No way.
Yeah, obviously I'm taking this way too fast and I'm just thinking 1,000 miles a minute, but how was it for you?
Well, it was kind of rough. But honestly, I realized I am not that ready for this just yet. I need and I want to take more time for myself.
Well, great for you for being able to admit that, And thank you so much for being here with me.
Yeah, of course. I'm really glad to be out of there. I could literally smell the red flags.
Maybe it's your sixth sense. Well, what do you say we get some ice cream?
Oh, let's go.
No way. No way, I would have fought back.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not gonna let anyone treat me that way.
Well, we don't really know what's going on, so I think it's important not to judge.
But how can someone stay with someone who treats them that way?
The writer clearly hasn't given us enough backstory, so we don't really know what's going on here. Think of it like this. Their partner could have a gun, or they could be threatening the kids, or using them as bait, or threatening their own lives, or their job. We really have no idea what's going on. Let's keep going. Medusa, horror icon or tragic hero? An age-old debate between scholars and historians alike. I guess it depends on the day, the storyteller, and how we choose to connect to her. Some say she was born with the Gorgon gift. Others claim she was cursed. But why curse someone with such a grotesque transformation? An act of protection, or was it an act of retribution? The question lies deeper.
Was I transformed by the magic of God? Or first, by betrayed trust and violation.
Was it beauty that transformed into the beast? Medusa was a chaste priestess of the goddess Athena, one of the highest priestesses in her temple, and she took her vows and her duties very seriously. The temple, for a priestess, was not just a place of worship, but a home, a place of purpose, a place of security in oneself. Medusa felt whole and safe here.
However, I was also a magnetic being. My appearance, heart, and fire made me incredibly desirable to all those who gazed upon me or knew me for only a moment. My oath of chastity didn't only offend mortal men, but also challenged the gods that spied.
One night, while doing burn offerings at dusk, a visitor appeared in the archway of the temple. Medusa welcomed him in out of the cold, and into the safe space came what appeared to be an old friend. Now, Medusa had known the seed god. She had met him many a time before, but never alone. Poseidon knew she would feel at ease with him, and he tried to quell the burning lust he felt with every step toward her.
That's the funny thing about moments like these. It's sometimes at points when you should feel safest that you begin to feel a pit of dread in your stomach.
You see, Medusa thought she knew this god. Thought that he knew her. Thought the boundaries put in place would be respected. But as he sat next to her, his head drooped low, and he took a long, slow smell of her hair. She tried to move away, and yet he held her tight. He put his hand on her lap and held tightly while she tried to remove it. He leaned in close, invading every inch of her space until she profusely said,
No! No. It should have been that simple.
"No." The word should hold some archaic power, even over a god.
No. It is an act of drawing a line. And any step over it, that is a point of no return.
No. She tried to walk away, but his grip around her wrist said otherwise. He pulled her tight and covered her mouth, her muffled screams falling on the deafness of silence.
And I could feel his power growing behind me. I bit as hard as I could and I ran, but within those four walls, there was nowhere to evade him and...
Violation. Another powerful word. Obviously, it means the act of violating, but what it does is so much more. It infuses into your DNA. It paints every wall with stains of betrayal and pain. It makes every sudden touch be an instant trigger for fight or flight. Or even worse, fright. We forget that third option. And when we know it, we so often use it to blame, to hurt, to oppress, to shame.
Violation also means violating yourself. Every boundary you create, every dream you ever had, every positive thought that ever crossed your mind, all gone. Shattered, distorted, transformed. What once was your reflection now is hideous to you. A monster. Unworthy of love, unworthy of respect, unworthy.
And a monster is what she became. It is believed one of two things: that Athena, angered at her temptress priestess for violating her temple with her godly rival, transformed the young maiden into the snake she is. A punishment. Never being able to gaze at another human for fear of petrifying them. Living out their eternal days alone.
What if there was no divine interference at all? What if this metamorphosis was one of my making? Sometimes the cruelest of punishments comes from within and takes the longest to forgive. So why not make me hideous? Make my outside match the gnawing hatred I feel on the inside. Make me endure crush and love over and over and over until I sabotage it with one small gesture every time. A glance, a touch, never truly connecting because I fear that the small opening in my constructed armor would leave me vulnerable. Until eventually, my heart is nothing but stone.
But there is another theory. Maybe it was a blessing. It is also believed that Athena, a protector of women, took pity on the poor girl. She turned her into a gorgon as a protection, so no man, divine or mortal, would ever lay eyes on her and hurt her again. She would never be able to erase what happened to her. And now she can take those walls she built and learn to live again. She is the forever survivor.
And now I have the tools to protect myself. That hatred now turns to strength. That trauma, now foresight. That fire still burns, but now only for me. But rarely do we speak of this idea. Why? Why must punishment and victim blaming be my narrative?
Why must this always be the narrative?
Does no one care how I felt?
I mean, after all these years, after millennia, doesn't she get to forgive herself? Doesn't she get to take back her story?
When is the moment I stop being a victim or a monster in the history books? When is the moment I can finally be seen as a survivor?
And every day, men and women transform from violation. Rape, assault, abuse, manipulation. They become shadows of their former selves. When is it Medusa's story can begin again and no longer be a tale of godly punishment, but a cautionary tale? An inspirational tale, a tale of not fighting against your trauma, but becoming one with it and taking back control. Does anyone take a moment to actually wonder how she feels?
How we all feel.
How I feel.
Take it! I'm done! I don't need it! I should thank you. You made me realize that that jacket isn't me or my power. I am my power. I'm done letting it be something that can be taken away from me.
Hey, where do you think you're going? I'll come back here now!
You can't control me anymore. There's nothing you can say to get me to stay here.
But I love you.
See, I love how their friend called them and asked them how their relationship is. It's
pretty courageous.
I really love how the writer wrote the scene. I mean, a simple "I believe you" can speak volumes.
So that friend should get them out of the relationship ASAP, right?
I mean, only if they're ready. I mean, if forcing someone to leave before they're ready to do so is just, it not only could not be helpful, it could be dangerous.
Why?
Each person is different, and they need time to discover how and when they're going to leave.
They're the narrator of their own story.
All their friends can do is really provide resources, be there for them, and listen.
Can I ask you something?
Dear me, I should have seen the signs.
Dear you, we cannot blame ourselves for the rose-colored glasses we sometimes wear. We also cannot blame ourselves when they shatter.
Dear me, I always make excuses for them.
Dear you, it was just you trying to see the best in people.
Dear me, I only had my parents as an example.
Dear you realize that there are many ways to break the cycle.
Dear me, I want to make it work.
Dear you can't make it work if the power isn't equal.
Dear me, I feel like I can't trust anyone. Even the slightest touch on my shoulder sets me off.
Dear you, that may never go away, but you begin to know the difference in touch, rough versus gentle, forced versus consensual.
Dear me, I don't know how to ask for help.
Dear you, finding the right person to open up to was difficult, but when you did, it made a world of a difference.
Dear me, I'm afraid of what they'll do to me, to themselves, if I don't give in.
Dear you had to do what was best and safest for you. What they do in response is not your fault.
Dear me, but I love them.
Dear you will one day find love, real, reciprocal love, and understand why that wasn't love.
Dear us.
There is no excuse for abuse.
It's up to you to write your own narrative.
Speak your truth and take back your power.
Let's turn the page on being a victim and begin our chapter as a survivor.
You are enough.
Together, we can move forward.
I hear it on every single end. Give me 1 second. Hello, everyone, and thank you again for being a part of our premiere of Rewriting the Story, Perceptions of Love. We are going to transition now into a short talkback portion where we would love to hear from you, our community, our audience. I would like to also thank, our sponsors again, and to Nellie from the Family Justice Center of Staten Island and Rose from the Community Health Action of Staten Island, and again, all those who shared their stories with us. really, it was a collaborative effort, and thank you all again for being on. So as we let our actors slash writers in, we would love to hear from the audience. Was there a part of the play that stood out to you? Was there a question that you have? Is there a word that comes to mind when you think about this piece as you're digesting it right now? And I'm welcoming all of our actors. Hello, everyone. So I'd love to just say that, we are not all experts in this particular area. We're coming from it. We're all coming to it with different intersections in our lives. So with this talk back, it's just that it's a time to talk, to ask questions in a respectful and of course a thoughtful manner. So I'm just going to see who is on. Hello, Laura. Hello, Justin. Hello, Tyler and Christy. Hello, Will. Hello, Arlene. Fantastic. So I'm trying to see if I can also see. Here we go. Yes, the project did mean the world to all of us. And again, we want to thank all of you out there for staying on, for watching the world premiere of this piece. So we have some of the actors and writers here. Let's go through, and I'd love for you all to introduce yourself. Maybe we can start with Arlene, just say who you are, although probably everybody knows who you are, Arlene. Just say what you do with IlluminArt, and then actors, writers, if you wrote something, please let us know what piece you wrote, and just a little bit about it.
Okay, I'm Arlene Sorkin. I'm the president and CEO of IlluminArt Productions.
Go through, and I'd love for you all to introduce yourself. So if somebody has their YouTube on, yeah, just make sure it's muted. Thank you so much. So yes, Arlene, if you want to say that again.
That's okay. I'm Arlene Sorkin. I'm the president and CEO of IlluminArt Productions. And I'm really proud of all these people that you see on the screen who helped contribute to this.
Yes, thank you so much. And so Sarah and Jessica just came on. We are just quickly, we thanked our audience. We're just quickly introducing ourselves and our roles in the company at the moment. So let's hear from Jessica and then Sarah next, and then actors, playwrights, we'll hear from you all. Oh. Jessica, you want to introduce yourself? Oh, just make sure you're unmuted.
Sorry, my computer was lagging. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jessica Maldonado. I am the LMSW, the social worker for IlluminArt Productions, and I did contribute a little piece of the writing in this amazing, amazing production, guys. You did so incredibly well. Thank you. That was just an amazing performance.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And thank you for all your help. Really was appreciative.
Thank you.
Sarah?
Hi, everyone. Great job. I'm the director of education with IlluminArt, and I really enjoyed watching that. I thought it was really well done. I was very moved, and I'd love to hear more about the process.
Thanks, Sarah, and you definitely will. Let's start with Laura. Laura, your role and what piece you collaborated on.
Hello, everyone. My name is Laura. I'm a teaching artist assistant here with IlluminArt, as well as a touring company actor. My piece was called Social Night. It was the one where the two actors are going out for a night out recommended by their group therapist, to go out and meet new people and try to get back out there after an intense relationship that may have involved abuse. So basically the idea came about to have like a little bit more of a break in between these more heavier scenes, and just have also addressing the topic of red flags in people, addressing the topic of getting back out there after any sort of relationship is hard, but especially after what I could imagine an abusive relationship. And just, accepting where you are in that journey. And if you're not ready, that's totally fine. And if you are, that's totally fine. And just, having a as much of a level head about it, and accepting all the feelings that go on in that process. So the red flags were supposed to be shown through in these really small segments with these different characters. You have one who's just not interested. You have someone who is kind of possessive sounding. You also have someone who is a little bit too forward. And then at the end, we had a green flag character who, really takes the time to listen to the person, has empathy, is very respectful about boundaries. There's like some small subtle details where instead of asking, can I have your number? I thought of saying, can I give you my number, was a way to show that's like a nice boundary. So just having those small little interactions that would sort of capture all of those red flags in the quickest way possible. Obviously, it's not going to be that obvious, or it might be obvious, but that was the goal of that scene. So
I think you hit that goal, Laura.
It was a lot of fun. It was my first time writing a scene, and I did not expect to. The typing happened, and I was really happy with it. But it was so fun to see it come to life.
Yes. So after we got all the information from our resources, survivor stories, we all, like Laura was saying, sat down, we collaborated together for a few sessions and figured out what topics we wanted to research. And although there are so many, we picked the ones that you saw today because we felt the most passionate about it and that it needed to be spoke about. And so we collaborated together and did a lot of editing together. So those fingers were flying, definitely. Justin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Justin. I personally wrote the Medusa piece. For me, I even before we got this kind of writing and acting ensemble together for this project, I was telling Ariel that I've always had this kind of Medusa story in the back of my mind since I heard about the project. Because as a survivor of partner violence and also of assault, Medusa feels like a myth that constantly plays in my head, and I know other people's heads, of, basically not only becoming a monster metaphorically, but also the internal turmoil that happens with PTSD, with trauma, with trust, with, self-victimizing and self-blaming, and really exploring all the different facets and arguments of the myth and the fact that it could be a blessing, this transformation. It's these walls that you put up, was really something that I loved exploring while writing this piece. And actually, it was through those workshop days that it became less of a monologue, like a TED talk, and became more like a dialogue between a survivor and Medusa herself. And I'm really proud of the piece that went up today. So I'm really just proud to have been part of this process with all these wonderful people.
Yes, and Justin, I will say that I think one of my first notes when we were creating this piece is, of course, we wanted it to be educational for people and highlight what is going on as best as possible. But I didn't want it to just be, I was hoping that we would come up with some more artistic, creative ideas that would get people thinking. And I think your Medusa piece definitely did. And I look forward to seeing it performed hopefully next year live on stage, and I look forward to seeing it growing as well. Because I will say to everyone out there that IlluminArt, we have many original pieces, I think 5 or 6 at the moment, that we have created over the past few years. And these, I like to say, are all living documents. As the years change, they have to change with the society, with standards, with things that are going on in our world. So again, living documents is what I like to say. Thank you so much, Justin. Let's hear from Christy and then Tyler. We're in the same space.
Okay. Hello. So I wrote the piece, Mother Knows Best, And I wanted to kind of take this from the point of view of a kind of dysfunctional mother-daughter relationship, where you see a daughter kind of trying to emulate her mother. And when the mother is saying horrible things about herself and horrible things about her child, that starts to become how you feel about yourself and how you think a relationship works. That's what you do. Your parent insults themselves, they insult you, and you think that that's just how a relationship goes between a parent and child. And you grow up in a house and you might see your parents doing the same thing to each other, and that becomes all you know of what a relationship looks like, until you're able to get out into the world and see other relationships where the power is equal, where people are complimenting each other and they really mean it, where, people are helping each other, doing things for each other, building each other up instead of trying to cut them down to make themselves, I guess, feel better about themselves. So I wanted to kind of show like the different stages of a child going through that relationship in their home until they're able to leave that home and really figure out, like really say to themselves, I'm my own person now, and I can stand alone, love myself and build myself back up. And then once I know who I am, I can continue to be in a relationship with somebody else, and you share the power and really be equal and have a loving relationship.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Christy. That piece was wonderful. And I think there's the idea of, speaking your truth. And somebody offline, Roseanne says, speaking my own truth was not part of my young adulthood. And when that's all we see when we're growing up is this certain way of living, certain way of being treated, like in Christy's piece, it just becomes a cycle. And like Christy was saying, when we finally are able to, or whenever we're able to get out of that cycle and see these other ways that people should be treated, it could be really a revelation. But sometimes it is very hard to break that cycle 100%. Thank you so much, Christy. Tyler?
Yes. Okay. So my scene was called Regaining Your Power, but it wasn't necessarily a straightforward scene with the title. It was the little scenes that you saw in between each scene. The one with the instrumental music about the couple and the girl having her jacket being taken away from her. When I wrote the scene, I was thinking about it being symbolism for the relationships that you would see in a toxic situation. I wanted it to show what the experience is like and have the feeling of what being in that experience is like without it being so physically brutal. And I think that Ariel portrayed that very well with her directing, making it make you feel like, while watching it, making you feel like, wow, this is awful the way he's treating her, but it's not so in your face about it. I wanted it to be a little more tame. And I wanted you to, for everyone who doesn't really understand what it's like to be in a relationship like that, based on the conversations that we had about relationships like that, and from people that I know that have experienced it, I know that it feels like someone is constantly controlling the actions that you, that you're, the things you want to do. They control every little bit of what you want to do. And with him taking her jacket, I feel like that represented her losing her decisions, her individuality. And I think that at the end, that's why I love that they have their little argument and she doesn't care about the jacket, because that power that she was constantly giving him, the control that she was constantly giving him, was not her. It was the person that she was before the relationship started. So I really love the way that it came out, and I really am glad that it became like a segue to each scene. And it was so fun watching it played out and everything.
Yeah, I really enjoyed your piece too, Tyler. I've enjoyed all of ours. But I like what you just said, that you didn't want it to be right in your face, that it was like, oh, this is an abusive partner. Because a lot of the times it doesn't start out that way. It starts out
Right.
slow. And I think in just a movement piece that you created, it was very powerful. And so my piece jumped onto Tyler's. And I did a piece about being an ally for someone who is in a situation. And it started off with them watching the movie that was Tyler's piece. And I really wanted to look at allyship and how we could do better. And we will be putting links into our bio when this goes up, with all the resources that Jessica has created for this piece. So thank you, Jessica, again for that. Will, I know you started a piece that finished us off today. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Yes. So my piece was Dear Me, Dear You, which was the ending of the piece, really. So it, for me, what it was a callback to the person that someone in an abusive relationship or whatever type of relationship was before they were aware of all the red flags. And so, like we said before, constantly learning, and you can never really blame yourself for things that you did not see, which is really what I stuck with. And so for me, Dear Me, Dear You was a cry back to your past self about things just not being to your liking, but also things you didn't know. So there isn't a sort of blame to anybody, really. You can only do what you've already done, and you could only grow from it as best as you can. And also, and also from an acting perspective of doing Tyler's scene and, going through everything, it was just really great. And it really made me feel much better about my piece, because it kind of just all welded it together. It's really beautiful. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Will. Justin, and then we have actually 2 questions from our audience that I'd love to get to. Justin.
I also forgot that there's also another piece in this called Mariah and Sam, that's from Can I Ask You Something, that Ariel and I worked together a lot throughout last year, 2020, or 2019 into 2020. It's all been a blur, as we all know. But that's from our show, Can I Ask You Something, where we wanted a scene that really kind of focused on the uncomfortability of sometimes coming forward with your story. Because we live in a society where even if people don't mean to victim blame, there are always questions that are asked that are never really combined with empathy a lot of the time, especially in a clinical setting, like reporting it to the law, or even sometimes in therapy sessions, as I have experienced, or things like that. So really understanding that as much as you may feel alone, you also have a group of people, whether you know it or not, that have all stepped similarly in the same kind of steps as you. So you're never truly alone. Once you become a survivor, you're now part of this sea of survivors. And rather than being kind of isolated, you can kind of start reaching out to those resources, which looking at the list that was at the end of the show today is a really great list of resources.
True. Thank you so much, Justin. So we do have a few questions. One comes from Alice. Alice says, many of the pieces triggered uncomfortable memories for me. Did it trigger any of the actors? How did you work through it? I see a few shaking heads. Will, would you like to start? Thank you.
I will say 100% right off the bat, after we had just really finished writing one of the scenes, I was like, oh, this unlocked the whole world of memories I try to get rid of. But it was a little difficult, but it also, like I was saying before, no one is invincible. We're not invincible. If we were, that'd be amazing. but everybody in their own way makes a mistake, and unfortunately, there is no real way to change that. So, especially me now, I am a much happier person than I was when I was in that situation. And so it really just made me realize how you could only grow as a person. So yeah, but it was 100% definitely, there were, memories that were triggered. There were certain things that came back to me that I completely forgot about, but yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Will, for being so candid. We always talked about in our writing sessions and even when we were rehearsing it, that self-care is the most important thing. So whatever we needed to do to, not just shake it off, but just to make sure that we were in the correct mindset to be able to give this information and perform it in a way that is connecting with you, the audience, was beneficial to everybody around. So I just say for anyone out there who feels a little triggered today, please do some self-care afterwards. If you need to walk away, that's okay. This will be up here after to watch. Justin.
I don't know how to take down my reactions now. No, okay, there we go. Going back to the Mariah and Sam scene, anybody who was part of the touring company when we first started to rehearse it remembered how emotional I would get while rehearsing that scene. And not that I dissociated from some of the moments, because like I was still getting verklempt in many different moments throughout this process, especially with pieces that weren't even my own, but like strangely like reading things or hearing things or saying things that I was like, wow, that feels like someone went into my mind and drew out a thought of mine. And I think reading the comments, a lot of people feel that. And I think we've all felt that with a bunch of these pieces. But theater is inherently therapeutic and cathartic. So, I think really has some of my own personal memories been triggered? Sure. I think actually I've ran into that and infused the pieces I wrote with that. But I think more importantly, Ariel has always created such a safe setting in a rehearsal room and in a writing room that, and I really love the people that I work with on an everyday basis. So, I think we were in a place to feel these emotions, but more importantly, to have that catharsis and to move on and let the piece kind of be that, like, for a lack of better term, like a time capsule. Like these are my emotions. This is what happened to me. Let it live here and let me step further beyond it.
That's beautifully said.
And there's love there, there's pain there, there's melancholy and nostalgia. At the same time, we can move on, and everyone's experience, whether they've experienced things firsthand, secondhand, or just as an ally, is different. Everyone has probably seen some form of abuse, whether that be physical, emotional, manipulation, narcissism, whatever. Abuse doesn't have to be big to be abuse or violent. Small things can happen. And I think, we all kind of felt things as we went through, and we left it on the page, and then we all felt comfortable with each other to keep moving forward, which was really wonderful.
Well, that's very well put, Justin. Thank you. And I think we would love to, I think theater does that, as you were saying, Justin, the ability to put it down on paper and then kind of step away, and it's there and it will stay there, but you can kind of maybe not disassociate, excuse me, but just remove yourself a little bit. And we hope that, if we do this project again next year, that we could work with more people and allow them to also give us more of their voices and help in that process as well. I'll also say that this piece, as I said in the beginning, is a learning piece. So we hope that, if I've not gone through something like this personally, which is why I focus more on the allyship. And I hope that people can take bits from it and learn from it, how to be an ally, how to spot red flags, how to stop a cycle of abuse, and how to just ask for help as well. And there's from Sabrina. Sabrina would love to know, what were some of the joys and or challenges when creating these pieces? And we talked a little bit of the challenges. Did we find any joys in the writing process? Tyler, then Laura.
Honestly, the joys in writing this was honestly being able to see each other and collaborate with each other. I feel like we haven't seen each other in person in a very long time and been able to sit in a space and work on something, not on a screen. And this was such a sensitive piece that it was the perfect time to actually finally come together and work on this, because like Justin said, it was very emotional and we are all very comfortable with each other to be able to move on and better each other's pieces. So that was what was amazing for me, at being able to let go of everything that we wrote about, but do it together and in person and actually produce something not on Zoom.
Yes, I agree, Tyler. I think a piece like this, you need to be around people. You need that connection. And I am very grateful for all our writers for writing in a Zoom space, but I'm very grateful for Christy to allow us to be in her space to do this piece. I don't think it could have been done as successfully if we were on Zoom. I agree. I think I saw Laura's hand.
Yeah, kind of the same. I wasn't going to do it. I said yes. And then I was like, oh, wait, I'm not sure if I'm the person that should write something for this. I don't know what kind of topics. And then when we did the first brainstorming, I said, okay, I'll do the brainstorming. And then I didn't realize that, I could write this side of all of this. So the getting back out there for someone in general, like I said before, in general, that's a topic that everybody deals with, right? So we can hit upon that that topic in that way. And I just was so happy to be able to get the creative juices flowing in it, and surprised that it came to life, and being with everybody was just the icing on the cake. And I when doing Tyler's scene, it was challenging for sure. And I think thinking of it as more of a dance in my head kind of helped it with it, kind of removing myself from any feelings that may come up. So I could see how this could be a therapeutic way of dealing with these topics for someone who has really, really lived these situations. So that's how I would have had separated myself from it. It's okay, this is a dance. This is art. This is, something separate from the actual situation that I may have been thinking of. But yeah, definitely being able to be in person. I didn't even think of that, how we took this for, I don't even want to think that I took that for granted either, because I didn't realize that was the best part about this whole process too. In the end was, oh my gosh, we're together and we're doing theater again. I guess it was a little different because we weren't doing it on a stage in a school as what we used to. So it was still a little bit different, but it was really special to be able to have the final project be in person again. It really felt like going in full circle here.
I agree with you, Laura. And I just want to say that, if we didn't take our information firsthand, we did do a lot of research. That was one of the questions in our chat to make sure that it was relatable. We had people, survivors, give us their stories, their information that we pulled from. So it was a collaborative effort in creating these pieces. Jessica.
Hi. So I'm sorry, I tried to raise my hand before and I clicked the clap hand emoji. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, I wanted to take a minute just to answer Sabrina's question. Shout out to Sabrina. Hi, Sabrina. Just Ariel had mentioned that we had all, IlluminArt had done research from survivors, giving in their, contributing their stories. And I actually was one of those survivors who contributed some of those stories. And I felt that something that Laura mentioned also really resonated with me. She said, well, I'm sorry, I'm a little like, it was definitely very emotional, and it was very therapeutic for someone who has been, like, I have been victim blamed, and I have heard, well, why didn't you fight back? I have heard questions like that. So seeing what I wrote in that questionnaire was a challenge, and it was difficult, but it also was very cathartic and powerful and therapeutic, and can provide some closure, albeit emotional. But definitely, and I know, my voice is shaking and I apologize for that. But it's definitely emotional, but it was very beautiful to see that. And it does provide some necessary closure on my part. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Jessica, so much for all your help and for your voice in this piece as well. Couldn't have done it without you. And like we've all been saying, doing this on Zoom creates its own challenges. It creates its own creativity as well. We are hoping, somebody asked in the chat, where are we going to do this piece next? We really hope that we can do this piece in schools, in centers, whoever will have us, whoever wants to hear these stories, whoever needs to hear these stories. So if you have any connections out there, our community, on who we can go to, who do you think we should go see? Please, go to IlluminArt.org and reach out to us, because we want to reach out to more people in our Staten Island community and hopefully beyond. I'm just looking to see. The last question is just, sorry, which was very powerful. Okay, so Roseanne says, in the rape vignette, which was very powerful, getting a man's point of view was eye-opening. How did the actor who played that part feel? I think that was Will. How did you feel about playing that part in the Mariah and Sam scene?
Yes. It was a scene. So I went into that because Justin expressed the importance of that scene to him multiple times. So I already knew what was expected of me as an actor. So for me, it was very eye-opening. I learned a lot, but also I realized that I had been in a similar situation, but I was not old enough to go to the police. I was not old enough to do any of what was done in that scene. So it was very surreal, because as I was saying those words that are lines, it's a very scary statistic that 15% of the male population is afraid, and it ties into things I was taught as a child, from my parents. And my dad is a very traditional person, and my upbringing, it really affected my upbringing and who I am now. So yes, it was very it was very eye-opening.
Yeah. Justin, and then Arlene.
So that scene has gone through multiple cuts. Thank you, Ariel and Christy, for helping with those throughout the last couple of years. But Sam's story is my story, and Will did a beautiful job with it. But it's funny how in society we're so quick to blame the women, and we're so when they've been hurt, and we're so quick to discredit the men and say, well, it was a woman, you should be lucky, or why didn't you fight? Like, you're a big strong man, you should fight, and things like that. And because of toxic masculinity and things like that, men don't want to come forward, as Will said, and we say in the scene. Or if they do come forward, they're told that, like the cop asks, are you sure it was rape? if you're able to perform, are you sure it was rape? And we need to start understanding in our culture, not only just logically, but also empathetically, that if someone was assaulted regardless of gender, it's still assault. If someone is in a domestic abuse situation, regardless of gender, they are still a victim in a domestic abuse situation. If someone is in something toxic, regardless of gender, they are still in something toxic. And we need to stop getting out of our heads that women are either victims or seductresses. No, men are either strong and should be able to fight for themselves, or something has to be wrong with them because they are lucky to have, no. They are victims, they are survivors. And the beautiful thing about what we created today and what we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks and the stories that we received and the conversations we had all together, not just within the writing ensemble, but with Arlene and things like that, is partner violence knows no gender. Domestic abuse knows no gender. And we as a society need to start understanding that, standing together, and understanding that it's not men versus women. It's we have all experienced something. We can all stand together and we can all support each other. And we can all love each other.
Yes,
And
very
then
well
again,
put.
yeah.
And that's why IlluminArt does pieces like this, because I learned things by just writing and researching this piece. And we're so glad to hear that our community is learning and being open to change. Like Justin says, the way that we view things will change over time and needs to, and we need to all be a little more empathetic as we go along this life. Arlene?
So yeah, I wanted to say that we're really hoping that we can do a premiere of this show, of this piece, for the Staten Island community, like we've done with some other pieces that we've done. We've done topics including drinking and using drugs, and the way we usually do it is to have a panel of experts talk about these various topics, and then show the piece, and then have this discussion like we're having now. So that would be my goal, is to do a community forum. And then, once it's premiered, hopefully there would be other organizations and perhaps schools. We have done a lot of relationship abuse scenes with upper high school classes at Wagner High School in the past. And so, we know that some high schools are open to this, and we'd love to be able to do that. So if you want to keep track of what we're doing and find out and join our, get our email blasts, you can go to IlluminArt.org, and there's a way to sign up for our newsletter. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and you name it. We're there, Twitter. So you can find out what's going on with us and, what we'll be doing with this next.
We're all over social media and we're all over the island. Well, with that, we like to thank everyone, our audience, for watching our premiere, for sticking around and talking with us. Your comments are beautiful. Your questions are wonderful. We wish you all the best. Enjoy the summer. And we will see you all very, very soon. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, actors, writers. Thank you, everyone. IlluminArt staff. Have a great day.